So NBC did a short piece on Jordan Peterson on Saturday. And this is NBC, not MSNBC. This is the Normie Nightly News, so we can see that Peterson is finally moving into the mainstream view. I wonder how the piece went.
However, I received that information
in a time of polarizing politics.
Oh, we're already off to a great start. Jordan Peterson, the alt-right intellectual. Because we all know how much Jordan Peterson loves the alt-right and racial identity politics.
Do I believe that there's any connection between leftist identity politics of past decades and the emergent white identity politics of the alt-right? Yes, I think there's a direct causal connection. It only stands to reason that if identity politics is going to be the acceptable mode of communication, that there are people who are on the white side of the equation, let's say, who are going to decide that they're going to play exactly the same game, clearly, obviously, and horribly, because I'm no fan of identity politics, but what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. So, but I would recommend that people don't do it because, the radical leftists and their damn identity politics that's unbelievably pathological. And if you decide to fight that by playing the same game, you think, well, I'll play the same game and then I'll win. It's like, you won't, because by playing the game, you lose. That's the thing about your political opponents is you don't play their damn game. You play a different game. And so, what I've been trying to encourage people to do is instead of playing the collectivist game, and that would include alt-right identity politics, say, is to play the individualist game and to get their act together. The best revenge, I would say, but you shouldn't be doing it for revenge, but the best revenge against the collectivist leftists is to live a stalwart, meaningful, and high-quality individual life. And that's also the pathway that requires the most responsibility and sacrifice, and so I think is the most honorable and least self-deceptive.
So let's all just pause for a second and make a prediction. Do you think that they will show a single thing that will somehow give evidence to this claim that Jordan Peterson is alt-right or even liked by the alt-right? Because the answer is no.
Dr. Jordan Peterson refuses to be pigeonholed.
You're not going to decide what words I'm going to use.
In the past 2 years, the Canadian psychologist and academic has been adopted as a hero of the Donald Trump-loving alt-right.
The Donald Trump-loving alt-right.
What an obvious way of categorizing that. Like as if only alt-right people like Donald Trump.
Diversity, inclusivity, equity, all of those things together in particular make up a very toxic brew.
Oh my god.
He doesn't like our illiberal buzzwords.
We're just gonna put that in there with absolutely no context of what the fuck are you talking about.
Now I want you to notice how this news segment is structured. They will make a claim about Jordan Peterson, and then you would expect for them to show the clip that validates the claim, right? Except, of course, they don't have a clip that validates their claim. So notice how they'll just say something, and then there's absolutely nothing to back it up.
He takes direct aim at the far left and its effects on young men, whom he says have been hurt by a society that overvalues political correctness and pushes them away from traditional male roles. His new self-help book, 12 Rules for Life, is already a bestseller. Hundreds of thousands subscribe to his online lectures, his speeches regularly attract protests,
I'm not arguing about your rights.
and his new speaking tour is selling out.
It feels like a movement, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
I think he's dangerous because of the sorts of people that he enables.
Journalist John Semley has criticized Peterson.
I always like in these news segments when they go to some random journalist to get their opinion on something, why the fuck do we care about what this random guy has to say about anything? Is he some sort of expert of anything? No, he's just some fucking schmuck.
Is there an ideological similarity between Jordan Peterson and Donald Trump and his followers?
I would say fundamentally, yes. They both believe in this basic split of winners and losers, of hierarchies being natural.
Okay, so Jordan Peterson is just like Donald Trump because they both believe that there are winners and losers and that there are hierarchies and that that's a natural state of order. So according to this guy, anyone with eyeballs and a brain that can perceive reality and understands that there are, in fact, winners and losers, and that there are natural hierarchies in life, is apparently the same fundamentally as Donald Trump. You know, they always do this. It was the same thing. You saw this with Kathy Newman too. It's like Jordan Peterson or Sam Harris or literally anyone will just say something like, well, there are natural reasons or scientific reasons for X. And all the liberals will jump down their throat and say,
Oh, by saying that you believe there are natural reasons for something, that means you support it. Oh my God, you're some sort of genetic fascist.
Peterson doesn't apologize for his mostly male audience and tells them not to apologize for their privilege, describing himself as a kind of father figure.
Get your bloody act together, but I'm on your side.
Using psychology, religion, and biology to justify the same inequality the left opposes.
see, is what I exactly said. Because Jordan Peterson dares to say that there could be biological or psychological reasons for something, that somehow means he thinks that inequality is a good thing, even though he's literally said the opposite.
There's this sort of Marxist notion that all this inequality is generated as a consequence of capitalism, and that's actually technically false. There seems to be something like a law of nature that's described by this statistical model called the Pareto distribution, and it basically suggests that in any creative domain, there's going to be a small number of people will do almost all of the output. But it doesn't just apply to human beings. It applies to the heights of trees in the Amazon rainforest. It applies to the size of cities, and it applies to the mass of stars, and it's something like the more you have, the more you get. It's something like, you can imagine how that would work with a star. As it gets bigger and bigger and its gravitational mass increases, it's going to attract more and more matter. And then as a city grows, well, more and more people are excited to move there because of all the opportunities. And so some cities start to grow tremendously and others don't. This phenomena where a small number of people end up controlling a tremendous proportion of the resource is not only limited to money, and it doesn't only occur in capitalist societies. It occurs everywhere. It's like a natural law. It's the 1% gets 80%. And so, well, first, we can't blame that on capitalism. And second, we should note that it actually does constitute a problem, which is what the left-wingers are always jumping up and down about, right? Like, too much inequality starts to destabilize your society. And it isn't obvious how to shovel money from the top end, maybe the 1/10 of 1% who have almost all the money, down to the people who have almost nothing in a way that's effective, so that they don't get thrown out of the game completely and so that the whole society doesn't destabilize. We don't exactly know how to do that. It is a problem because inequality does exist and it does tend to magnify across time.
It's so disgusting how stuck these people are in their own bubble and in their narrow lens. They see everything as just this dog whistle because they're all secret psychic mind readers. Oh, and before we go back to this, okay, who actually thinks they're gonna cut back to a clip that shows that any of what they just said is true? Does anyone actually think that's going to happen? Anyone?
Using psychology, religion, and biology to justify the same inequality the left opposes.
What you're saying, it just sounds a bit grim, doesn't it?
No.
No?
No, it sounds a lot grim. It's not a bit grim.
So
it's as grim as it gets.
What? What did he say? What is grim? Who knows? We don't know. Nobody knows. It's just grim. I don't know. It's like, are they trying to make it seem like the "it's grim" statement align with their previous bullshit statement about him not wanting inequality? Like, it's so disgusting. And so poorly made on top of it. I mean, like, the graphic is good. They did a good job with a little scale graphic, okay? but the thought behind it is fucking ridiculous.
And it's that grim view that's made Peterson a target for his critics.
Does any of it frighten or upset you?
Yeah, all the time. Constantly.
I'm gonna be honest. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. He needs to get rid of the beard, okay? I don't like the beard. It's not good, and it's not good for his image. I mean, we all know they're gonna attack him no matter what, but it's like, he looks like one step away from Father Comstock, okay? He needs to get rid of it.
And an object of adoration to his ever-growing legion of fans. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Toronto.
You know why these men will die for? Because I have seen their future in the glory, and hence they are content.
So is this like the most bad faith thing you've ever seen. This is just, it perfectly encapsulates how dangerous dog whistles are. Because I don't think that the people that made this think that they're liars. Okay? I don't think the people that made this realize how disgustingly dishonest they are. In that they're, you know, oh, we have to press this SJW agenda, so we have to make Jordan Peterson look like an alt-right Nazi. I don't believe they consciously think that. It's more likely to me, they're just, these people are so stuck in their own bubble and their own lens. They just see everything Peterson says as a dog whistle. Oh, Peterson's just not being honest. He's just coding everything the right way. But all his alt-right supporters and fans, oh, they know the truth. You know, it's funny because I literally just said in the Ezra Klein video how dangerous it is to look at the world through this dog whistling secondary thinking lens. Because you can literally take anything someone says and believe that they're really saying something else. And this piece is just the perfect example of it. Just the perfect example of it. And it's even worse because this isn't Vox, this isn't Huffington Post, okay, this isn't Salon.com. You know, we all expect them to be bullshit. This is NBC News, okay? It's not MSNBC cable news, this is network NBC News. You know, it's so ridiculous. And on Sunday, he was on 60 Minutes Australia. You'd think they covered him fairly?
In 2018, you wouldn't think it's too much to ask that women be paid the same amount as men for doing the same job. Apparently, though, it is.
The wage gap is simply the average earnings of men and women working full-time.
It does not count for different job positions, hours worked, or different jobs. It has nothing to do with the same job. It has nothing to do with discrimination.
The fight for equal pay has galvanised much of the world.
Is an unbelievably bad idea.
But according to controversial Canadian sociologist and psychologist Jordan Peterson, it's a fight not worth having.
In my estimation, not only is it not reasonable, it's absolutely deadly. I think there's nothing that we could possibly do that's more ill-advised.
Well, why is it deadly? I mean, deadly is a very strong word.
It's been tried. It was tried throughout the 20th century to enforce equity outcomes, all through the communist bloc. That was the fundamental idea, to enforce equity outcomes. It didn't work well.
So he's talking about equality of outcome, and they frame it as a fair gender pay issue. Now I definitely didn't see that dishonest framing coming.
Not